Hello everyone, Dungeon Frog here, and today I want to showcase another build idea from me. So in the first part we will talk about the build, and in the second part we will look at my SFHC character, and yeah, let's see. So the idea is a bit like being OnePuncutreMan, so having like one melee strike to kill everything. And we see a lot of puncture builds functionating pretty well with snipe on the range basis, but we don't see many builds which take it to the melee stages. There are good reasons why we don't see it, because like in this build we use a dagger, so it has a small range, it attacks really slow, so you have to make the hit really precise. And that's probably the main skill gap in this skill. But it's also, in my eyes, the fun part. And if we hit, it's a pretty strong hit. And it got a lot better in playing as an assassin, because thanks to our new support gem, which is the volatility skill, which increases our max damage and lessens our min damage, with that we can exchange the brutality support and take the poison node we got from the ascendancy. I have to say, you don't have to play it as an assassin. I think it's best for the theme overall to play it like this, but there's some other variations which might be more in your taste. Like we have the gladiator version, which has some AoE explosions. We have the Slayer, which has a bit more of extra attack speed and some more AoE and more attack range. And we have the Ascendant, who combines the the gladiator's damage node with the damage node from Trickster to get like an even bigger, or yeah, not really bigger, but it's a way more consistent big bleed than the assassin. But the assassin gets the big first hit, and it's pretty strong if the enemy gets on low life. But in between there is a problem, but most enemies should die with our one hit. So let's look at the character. We are using like daggers for this weapon, and the new nodes to increase the overall max damage is really scaling well with Puncture. We are using the elusive node at the start, so we are moving a bit faster through maps, going then for some extra damage while there's one boss, and some less damage if there are more mobs which are dangerous, and then we go for the full damage, and lastly we go for some poison. It's not really important to do the lab, so yeah, it's not the strongest node, but it's nice to have. We're attacking with a dagger, so keep that in mind. We are making like one single strike, and that strike does a lot of damage. And we don't have like any stuff activated on this. We don't really need any items, so like Abyss is really in softcore, probably pretty good, gives us tons of extra damage. But if I'm a hardcore player, it might be hard to kill bosses with the Abyss. This belt is like really great for damage, but it's also not a really big must-have item. We only use one jewel if we got any higher than 95, or if you have good jewels, you have like two slots where you could put them early into. And the problem with the Assassin Road is that we want to have the area nodes, Tribal Fury, to get away our melee splash, and before we need to play with melee splash, and Call to Arms for our ancestral call, so that we strike more targets. That makes life way more easier, but I will show you later a way which I did use to level the character, which also helped a lot. So other than that, we are trying to get some Sith nodes, some dagger nodes, some crit nodes, some increased bleed nodes, the multiplier for extra damage here. We have some auras, probably could fit in also a clarity if we use it even a bit wider. I have more auras than me. With the right itemization, we can get alignment immunity. There might be a point to get even down here instead of getting those health nodes, just to get the alignment immunity. Yeah, we got here some extra bleeding duration, and yeah, we do a lot of damage using the puncture, and you see I did try some different things. What we do, sadly the Nightblade support is not really worth it in the end. That's the best combination of skills we have, so you probably want a red-green armor for it. Using vulnerability as a curse, some skitter bots for our power damage. I like to run a stone golem. We need to use life tap to cast it. Malevolence with precision and enlighten to get some extra mana. Ancestor Totem, ambush to make like our first strike even deadlier. War banner, vitality, the stack, all the good things to make big hit. And let's check out the big hit. It's like doing 2 million around DPS on the first strike with the enemies at full life. So you probably want to actually support your stone golem with something like elemental army so that he's defensive, that he does not make a strike first. And yeah, so that you have like the first strike, probably want to activate one of the flasks here, so to increase the damage even further for the first strike. Like you only need to usually make one strike, and then you just wait, run in circles for 15 seconds, and even we have it against Cyrus here. He probably will switch phases. The next phase will be a bit harder, and then the last phase will be a bit easier again when we are getting to our Culling Strange range and our low life DPS range. We are surviving, and that's probably one of the strengths. As long as we are elusive, we are having a really nice effective hit point pool, so that's really nice. Let's go through some items here just for an idea. I choose usually pretty average items with the right stats. So here the increased damage over time multiplier is really nice. Getting phasing is also pretty nice. Having some decent rings, you can definitely get better ones, but they cover resistances life, and yeah, in this case we get some energy. We got another nice amulet. Here again, you always want to go for like damage over time multiplier and global strike multiplier. The crit multiplier is really important for the assassin build. It gets less important in the other builds with ascendant or something like this. So you see, there's like really average gear I just put on him. Like the stats are like nothing higher than average on usual cases. The only thing I have a bit higher is, I think, the weapon. And here like small increases on the shield. Let's look at our weapon. You don't have to use a sai. You can definitely run a dagger with crit, but because like I did do this build for all the other specs, it was probably best to compare them with a sai with extra block damage. And yeah, that dagger is already pretty good, but there's in softcore probably pretty easy to get even a better dagger. And we have some configuration points here. We are elusive at the moment, so this gives us a nice chunk of effective life. Yeah, we're testing it against a standard Cyrus boss here to make it more important. And it's moving, which might be a problem. There is a second setup which you could play with a weapon switch to get a bow with ensnaring arrow to make it always as moving. That's like advanced play, but you don't have to. And yeah, like I said, the idea is to make like one strike, kill it, so the enemy is on full life. If it is not on full life, we lose a lot of damage. As you can see, our bleed is like way less important, but we try to get him to like a nice stage with our first strike, and then hopefully with new flask charges another good strike, so that he goes to low life. And with low life, our damage is not so big as in full life, but it's still getting up by quite a lot. And if he's already bleeding, yeah, okay, so this does not really matter much. So yeah, so that's pretty much the build idea. What do you think about it? I think it's a really fun way to utilize the new support gem and also to play as a character. It's still pretty unsafe because of the small range of the puncture, the slow attack speed. You really have to be cautious about playing the character. And now I want to show you my character in SSFHC. I just rerolled it, and the thing which I use to make leveling really easy and fun is the Chalice of Horrors. It's not that of a high level socket or item which we can use pretty early, and we can use our vulnerability gem in it to get another nice debuff, the decay debuff, and it's around like level 17. You really can't support it with any support gems on it, but as we are skilling dot damage in many ways anyhow, it got quite some synergy. So the actually cursing of those enemies is enough to kill most little monsters in clearing, and for everything else and in between you can use your puncture to kill it, and it's like really nice. Like, but you also can see it like here in tier 1 maps, it starts to drop down in damage, so it's like around like 9 or so rounds that it's not enough to kill always everything, but before that it's a really nice gem and it synergizes really well. Probably could make it even stronger if you use Despair instead of Vulnerability. So this is like a really nice tech, and it's probably like super easy to get on self. I mean on cell phone too, but I actually meant on hardcore. No, on trade. The playing and talking is really hard. But yeah, we just run around, use our curse against like enemies which die fast, and if something does not die fast, we use our bleed, and we probably won't kill this guy. He does too much damage. But it's overall enough to showcase this build. Yeah, super much fun having the enemy twinned. But and a not moving enemy, so here the switch would be really good. But yeah, okay, we are still killing him. Takes some time, but it's overall yeah, first map of this character, so I don't know how strong he is. Looks fine to me. And I will have a lot of fun leveling him, hopefully. And if he reaches endgame, then I will make another video to talk about how it went in the journey. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. See you in the next build guide pretty soon.